our previous video, we have seen how Spark SQL engine work. We saw how a developer write the Python code and how it get converted to the plan. What is catalog and how catalog analysis exception is thrown. How resolve logical plan is created. How Photon and AQE come into the picture. With the optimization plan, we will discuss more on Photon on AQE in the later part of the video. Then the physical plan and the cost model. In continuation to that, next video.
Hey YouTube world, welcome back to another video. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the driver memory management and why driver memory management is required. Because we know how executor are performing, how cluster manager is performing. But what about this guy? This guy is having something very important. Without it, you can't even, run any task inside the Spark. So why it is very important? Because multiple interview question lie over here. Okay, and these are the proven ones, and these are asked by the product-based company as well. We can't just ignore the memory management of this. So let's suppose you have a any system like this is your driver memory. This is your driver. Okay, this is your driver, and let's suppose it is having some kind of memory while it was created. Let's suppose 16 GB. 16 GB of memory is enough for any driver. Okay, 16 GB is enough. And by the way, you should have this question. Actually, I was having this question when I was learning Spark back in 2021. Yeah, so in 2021. So what actually it hold? So this, this thing, this driver, it is having our metadata. Metadata. Do you know what is metadata? Metadata is something which is tell you information about data. Let me I will give you example later on. Okay. And it will also have a task scheduling information if you have scheduled any task. Okay. And let's suppose you work from 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. shift, and that is general shift, and you need to run something for 9 p.m. Okay. So at that time, you want to come back and log in and will do, right? You can schedule that as that information. Okay. It will also contain DAGs, DAGs, DAGs. We already discussed about DAG, but DAG is directed acyclic graph. That means it will go in a unidirectional. It can't go backward. So it also holds the DAG information. Okay. So these are the three like major things which it get hold into it. Okay. And what is metadata now? Metadata is something like if you have received any data from any client, right? Any kind of data. So it will have the information like who provided it, when it was provided, where it was provided. So location wise, okay, average that kind of information is known as metadata. Okay, so let me refresh your memory a bit when we discussed about our architecture of Apache Spark. I discussed you about the diagram. Okay, here is the one. So let me copy it and paste it in below. Let me refresh your memory first. Okay, and we will discuss about the driver memory management. So when we were discussing about this, right? So we discuss about as soon as our driver node has been created and worker nodes executor has been created by cluster manager. So driver itself become as a master node, and now it driver will be directly coordinating with the worker node over here. Am I correct? This was the thing we discussed, right? It will directly coordinate and it will be bypassed. It is no longer required right now. So this is a master slave architecture which is effective. So for these, we have provided 64 GB of RAM and memory because it has to do very heavy lifting. Why 16 GB is allocated to it? So whenever this is a master, right? Master can do anything, right? So things such as broadcast join, and if you want to do connect, everything comes under this kind of program, that is driver program. What happens is when you do a broadcast join, right? Let me write it down. Broadcast join. So I have told you, right? Every data frame from this worker node will come to the driver node over here, right? So at that time, just imagine this is your 64 GB. Let me write it down. And this was your 64 GB data, 64 gigs of 64 GB. And this is currently a 16 GB of data. So even after partition, let's suppose you only require us two data. Do you think it will get stored over here? It will not, right? It will not. It can throw something. Yes, you are right. We are discussing about a very famous problem of Doom. Maybe I will be covering that in the next lecture. But Doom, driver out of memory. Just make this in your mind. Doom. It is called DOOM. Doom problem is a very big problem in our industry. So I will be making a complete separate video after this video. So stay tuned over that. So Doom is the thing which is created by driver memory. And just beyond storing the metadata, information, DAGs, and collecting the data, it has more other things as well. It is responsible for, running the jobs as well. It is like a brain. Whenever your Spark application gets shooted, whatever job is present over here, whatever stages has came into the picture, whatever transformation which you have to perform, how you have to perform, everything is stored in driver memory. This is why driver memory is very important to us. Okay. And this is the major, I will say it is a major issue in driver memory. If you are not aware of this, then please bring your notebook and one pen because you have to take note afterward. Okay. So this is all about the driver memory. Why driver memory is less than our executor memory and why we have to face the problem of room and what driver memory actually do and why we need to allocate the memory. And you can say, hey, if this is a problem, why don't you just allocate the 64 GB to it? It is not possible. Just see the price of RAM, guys. It is not like you just upgrade your driver node in this way. You have to be very very particular about when you have to allocate the memory to your worker nodes to your driver nodes because you should know what kind of data you are processing and how your cluster will be made. Once the cluster is made, right, you can't just after 6 months you bring it down and upgrade it and then make it work again. No, this is not how enterprise are working. Just understand that before even making a cluster, you should know how much TB, how much petabyte, how much terabyte of data you are going to process. By that, by an assumption, I'm saying assumption can be made. What will be the size of your driver node? What will be the size of your worker node? That is how the game has been played. Okay. And if things are not working properly, it take a lot of permissions to just create a cluster in enterprise. And by enterprise, I mean any company at Amazon, Google, Meta, even where I am working. Things these are controlled by admins. You just can't go and simply create the cluster and okay, I will make a cluster of my own because this is giving me out of memory and I will not optimize it. Let's increase the size of our driver. No, this is not the thing. If it is allocated to 16 GB, you have to work over the 16 GB. 64 GB is allocated, you have to work over the 64 GB. Now, this is you as a developer, how you have to, distribute your data among the executors, among the driver node. So this is where data engineering main thing come into the picture, and that is why driver memory management is so important question for interview perspective as well. Okay, so stay tuned for the doom error. I will be teaching this in the next video. So hopefully you have liked the video and you have got more insight about the driver and why driver is very important to us. Okay. Yeah. So if you have liked the video, please do write your lovely comment and please do subscribe it because this will help me grow as well as if I will grow, our community will be grown. Okay. So data engineering as a community will be grown. So hopefully you have liked the video. So please do like, share, comment, and share it with your friends as well. Thank you.